Page 89, Standing in the Need of Prayer. Now we are learning a new musical term here, a couple of them, so let's cover them briefly. At the bottom of the page, you see a DC all fine. It's not fine, it's fine, it's Italian. DC is an abbreviation. They give it down below, in the little footnote thing, they explain it there. I'm too lazy to go da capo, I just say DC. It means when you get to that point, when you finish that measure, you go back to the beginning. DC means go to the beginning. All fine means go to fine. Fine, if you look around, you'll see it's at the end of the second line. So what it means is we're going to go play all 4 lines, and then we're going to go back and we're going to play the first 2 lines again. That's all that means. DC all fine is pretty common. There's other variations of this, so we'll get to those later. However, keep in mind the symbols. At the end of the second line, you'll see the thin and thick bar line. That is the symbol for the end of a piece of music. See, the repeat sign is that, but it's got 2 dots added to it. So take the dots away, and now it's just the end of a piece symbol. When you see that, you know the piece is going to end there eventually. It may not end there the first time you get to it, but it'll end there eventually, and it does here. Something to keep in mind. When you're looking at a piece over, where does it go? What is the road map? Where do you go where? But we keep that in mind too. So, let's look the piece over. 4/4 time, treble and bass clef. It's 4 lines long, but it has the DC all fine, so it's really 6 lines long. The melody, it looks like it's in the right hand. The left hand mostly gets the chords. Okay. We're coming in on beat 4, because there's only 1 beat at the beginning. Well, that means there should be another measure with 3 beats in it. Well, if you look at the end of the second line, it's got 3 beats in it. But at the beginning of the third line, it's got 1 beat in it again. Well, that's okay, because if you look at the bottom, the end, that's got 3 beats in it. So we still got 4 beats in every measure. We just got a couple measures that are split. Oh, all right. Let's make sure we got the notes in the fingering first. Starting with the right hand, it's 3rd finger here. And it's 4. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 8th notes, 1 and 2 and. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Go down to the 3rd line. 8th notes, 1 and 2 and. You got a D sharp here, so instead of a D, we're going to use here. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. See that? Remember the rule for the accidentals. The sharp is an accidental. It's a temporary change of the pitch. It applies from that point on for the rest of the measure, but only that measure. So that first D sharp, that sharp applies for the rest of the measure. So all of those D's in that measure are sharp. So it's 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. 3. That's how that works. Left hand, we got the chords. C chord at first, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, then a C, G7. You need to be able to get to where you can do this without looking at the keyboard. You want to feel this. And then half notes, you're going to hold those down for 2 counts, and then a dotted half note, hold it down for 3 counts. Ooh. At the end of the second line, it's an F chord here, up here. And again, you want to get to where you can feel this without looking. You have to look at first, but eventually. Put the hands together. 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Get the idea? Go down to the 3rd line. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. You think that's not too bad. Keep in mind you have rest in the left hand. You got to play the rest. That is, you got to be quiet. So it's for the... See, the second beat is right hand only. And you Notice that D in the next measure is natural because that sharp sound only applied to that measure is no good anymore. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. So forth. So you go through and put the hands together and then go back through it however many 100 times you got to and get rid of the hesitation so it is a steady beat all the way through at whatever speed you're choosing. You don't have to take it up to speed yet. You can keep it slow for now, but it needs to be steady. Then we add as far as articulation goes, they don't really give you much of anything. You get slurs at the bottom, or the last 2 lines. Lift up. Lift up. You listen to this music and you can hear the sentences, and if you want to lift up between the sentences, whether it's in the music or not, you're welcome to lift up. So it's here, it's right there. I mean, you can follow the words too, because if there's an exclamation point or a period or a comma in the word, usually you can lift up there too. So lift up. I usually connect all this. Lift up. Lift up. Lift up. Lift up. You get the, so you can put in the phrasing even though it's not marked. It's okay. Left hand, you just connect these as best you can. You can't. Then dynamics. Well, that applies to the melody. Whatever you think mezzo forte is, or moderately loud. Not loud, it's just sort of loud. These need to be soft. You're going to crescendo up to loud here. You got the hairpin. You're going to go from moderately loud to loud. It's not a lot of difference. So a little louder, then loud. It doesn't mean every note gets a little louder. You have to kind of judge it based on the music. Here, I'm going to take every 2 beats. So the first 2 beats are moderately loud. Next 2 beats, you go up just a hair. Now I'm loud. So it's like every... And I'm staying loud now because they didn't tell me anything else. Now I got a hairpin going back down. It doesn't say how far to go. I'm going to go down to soft. So it's moderate and loud, moderately loud, moderately soft, and the left hand takes over there. That's just a judgment call. You have to kind of experiment. The idea is gradually get softer, and you have to plan it out, because if you don't, on that second line, you're starting loud, you'll be soft by the end of the measure. See, that's too soon. You have to spread it out more. So it's really that's really where most of that decrescendo is going to happen. Third line, same thing. You go back to moderately loud, and then go up toward the end of the line, go up to loud. So like you did before, it's the same thing. It's really better if you can get to know the music well enough that you're not thinking about the mechanics of what note, when, and all that junk. And you're getting into the music, you start feeling the music, then you start feeling the dynamics. And that's really where you're after. Because what happens a lot of people is they say, okay, I got the notes and the rhythms, close enough, go on. And you're missing out on most of what music is about if you do that. You really are. You're cheating yourself. Don't. Once you get the notes and the rhythms down, that's where the magic starts to happen. That's where the learning and the music really starts to take place. It's a feeling thing, and you have to feel it. So get beyond the mechanics where you can get into the music itself. And that's where you're getting into the music and you're starting to feel the music. That's the exciting part about playing an instrument or singing or whatever. And the speed, well, it says rhythmically, not too fast, because this, depending on how excited you're getting, this one can get pretty fast. But it's, and that one, if you have other people singing, they can sing back up, but they still got to be in the background. Now at the top of page 88 they talk about different, I guess they call them styles of music. I call them genres of music. They're different types of music. There's all kinds of. So they talk about jazz and blues and ragtime. You have classical music. You have all kinds of music. And different kinds have their particular styles of how they're played. Well, this is sacred music or spiritual music. It has its style. But we can cross the lines sometimes and we can mix the styles up. This piece a lot of time is done in a jazzy style. And for jazz, the counting is different. It's not 1 and 2 and for the eighth notes. You swing the eighth notes, which means you play them long short. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, and you feel it. There's no notation for it. You have to feel this. So here, a lot of times, this piece is done in a jazzy style. Well, that means like in the third line down there, where these, they were jazzy. 4 and 1 and 2. So I could do it in a jazzy style. Just done that way. But if you do it that way, you gotta slow it down a little bit because these short notes get to be too short. That just ruins it. So you gotta kind of slow it a little bit down on the jazzy style. You can experiment with that a little bit and see what you think. I'd like to play it with you slowly, just as regular, the way it's written. Not going to do the dynamics, but we will do the DC Alfine and all that. So I'll give us 3 counts, and let's just go over it slowly to make sure you have the right notes at the right time. No dynamics, just playing both hands the same. 1, ready, go.